My life wasn't all that great when I was a kid. I lived in New Orleans in a family that was under a lot of financial stress. My father left us soon after I was born. Years later, I had to drop out of school at the age of 16
This school sucks, man! I shut out of here! Sucks!
to work at a local supermarket as a soda jerk. Unfortunately, this wasn't an uncommon sight in New Orleans back in those days. People dropped out quite often to live a life of obscurity. Thankfully, my brother Gil partially owned a chain of donut shops called Tastee Donut, and I started working in one of them. When I turned 18, I started to wish for something bigger and wanted to do something greater with my life.
Today is my 111th birthday!
Dropping out of school was my first great sacrifice in life, and I was about to make a second. I sold my car and bought one of my brother's shops. This was my first time experiencing freedom and entrepreneurship, and I needed a lot more time to warm up to the idea of it. For 10 years I ran the Tastee Donut store alone and tried my best to learn as much as possible. Around this time, KFC was making its presence known in Louisiana. Even though they didn't make burgers, people loved them all the same. I wanted to make my own brand and have my own identity and beat Colonel Sanders, and this was a challenge that I couldn't turn down. Louisiana had its own fascination with chicken, and I felt it was a good idea to capitalize on this and take on KFC. In 1972, I bought a small place in the suburb of Araby in New Orleans. I called it Chicken on the Run.
Run, chickens! Run!
Initially, I made chicken based on a traditional recipe, something that was a fast food staple, but it wasn't the best of plans. The restaurant progressed at a snail's pace and I was upset to say the least. I didn't know what caused it at the time, and that was the first major problem I faced in the fast food sector. After almost a year of waiting, seeing whether the public's lukewarm response would change, I decided it was time to make a few changes. The menu was the first item on the chopping block. KFC had a unique and original menu, one that was its own, one that made people associate fried chicken with KFC. So instead of the traditional chicken recipe, I switched to a more authentic Louisiana-based recipe, inspired by ethnic Cajun cuisine. This was a much-needed step in the right direction. Next in line was the name of the restaurant. I changed it to Popeyes, after Detective Popeye Doyle of the French Connection. Without the apostrophe at first because, well, I didn't have enough money at the time to afford one. These changes were exactly what was needed to bring life into the restaurant. Customers now had a reason to come to Popeyes instead of KFC. I was overjoyed by the results and continued to grow Popeyes within the state. I didn't stop there. In 4 years, the first franchise restaurant opened in Baton Rouge, and within the decade, over 500 outlets had opened up, both in and outside the state. Once I reached the milestone, I shifted focus on marketing and attracting new customers, which slowed down the expansion plans. As the years passed, I found out that many people were confused by the name Popeyes. They believed it was inspired by the popular character Popeye the Sailor Man. Although it was funny at first, I took full advantage of this and purchased a license to use Popeye the Sailor Man for our promotional ads. The idea was perfect, as the cartoon character appealed to the children and my brand grew, and that was only the start. I got famous R&B singer Dr. John to write and perform a jingle for us. Love That Chicken took the country by storm. Not only was it played on several TV breaks, but radio stations too. Finally, when things were going smoothly, there was a huge problem headed right towards us. The company was growing faster than ever, and I didn't have enough money to cover the operational costs to sustain the restaurants. Slowly, a massive debt of over $391 million burdened my shoulders, and before I knew it, I was filing for bankruptcy. This was a very stressful time to say the least. But I had been through many before, and I knew exactly what to do. So I waited patiently for some resolution to come forth, and it didn't take long until the court granted one. My creditors were ordered to form a new parent company. They called it America's favorite chicken company for Popeyes and another chain of restaurants. America's favorite chicken company soon went public and raised enough funds to be able to run and expand Popeyes once again, this time internationally. New plans were made to open franchises across the seas in Asia and Australia. Popeyes is the core pillar of my legacy, but I would like to think that the foundation runs even deeper. Ever since I got into business, I have always wanted to give back to society. With the childhood I had, I have tried to donate to charities that serve needy children. Every Christmas on my balcony, I set up an extensively decorated display with the hope of spreading some joy and positivity in the community. My name is Al Copeland, and this is the story of Popeyes. If you guys liked that video, please hit the like button. It does wonders for the YouTube algorithm. Just the research and the editing alone of these type of videos takes us close to 18 hours. So we would really appreciate it if you could check out our Patreon. For just $1 a month, you can support our work. We produce over like 12 videos per month, so that's literally 8 cents per video. Thanks so much, guys. Peace out.